everyone, my name is Lwanele. I'm a clinical psychologist. Today's video is a follow-up from the previous one that I put up, which was about proving yourself to yourself and why you're giving yourself some excuses. And I got questions about, so why would a person do that? So why would you do that if you know that you want to achieve and you know that this is something that you want to do with your life? Why would you still not start on top of the reasons that I gave last week? So I came up with 6 reasons why I think this happens, and of course this is not an exhaustive list, so you can let me know if you've thought of other things, if your experience is a little bit different. We can just chat on the comment section and then we can enrich each other and all learn from each other. So the first thing that I came up with was you're afraid of rejection and disappointment. This is a big thing that stops people from starting. So you're not going to start, because what happens when I pitch my business to people and people don't take it up? What if people think this is a really lame idea? What if I write a song and nobody dances to it and nobody loves it and feels like this is a lame song? And the reality is you may very well make a fool of yourself, and maybe your song is not going to be great. Maybe your dance moves are not going to be great, but maybe they will be. And sometimes the fact that we're so self-critical stops us from doing that. So the first one is fear of being rejected and fear of disappointing yourself. The second one is just you're anxious of doing something new. Like I said in the video before this one, is that we're very scared of doing things that are outside of our comfort zone, and because it will be outside your comfort zone, you are going to feel anxious, you are going to doubt yourself, you are going to want to be a perfectionist, you are going to want to put a best foot forward and make a really good thing, but sometimes you're not going to be able to evaluate that or get a proper evaluation until you take it out there. And you only learn sometimes through trial and error to say, okay, fine, this doesn't work, maybe let me do this, or this doesn't work and maybe let me do that. But if you don't put things out there, you're always going to sit with that anxiety and also regret of I didn't start. But you allow yourself to kind of like just get anxious over it. We all do things with fear. We all push through the fear and the anxiety. It's just that our dreams are much bigger than the fear and the anxiety, so we push forward. Even when we're scared of doing something, and even when we fear that people are going to judge us and they may not necessarily receive what we're saying as well as we would want them to. The third thing would be an imposter syndrome. Most of us have this because we feel like we were given the chance we were given the opportunity by chance. Our qualification was just because I was a black student, or I got my job because I needed to meet BEE quota. So we undermine ourselves and we undermine the ability and the qualifications we have, and we have this imposter syndrome that perhaps I don't deserve to be here, perhaps I shouldn't be a manager, what do I even know? So if you don't get your confidence levels up, you're always going to feel like people are doing you a favor by appointing you, people are doing you a favor by giving you business, or people just like your posts just because they pity you. If you don't get over that imposter syndrome, it will cripple you and your business or your song or your dance, whatever it is that you want to start. The fourth thing is you perhaps have failed before. When you failed before, it's very hard to kind of like get up on that horse again, because you know what it feels like. Perhaps you've pushed really hard launching a business and that business really flopped, or maybe it did so well and then something happened like corona and then your business just died. And it takes so much strength to do a business and to like keep it going and to maintain it, that when it does die, it takes all of your energy out, and then it's so hard to kind of like say, okay, fine, let me put myself through this very difficult process again, because this is something that I want to do. And it happens all the time that you may feel scared, you may feel like I don't want to do this anymore, you may feel like you've been burnt. Even your family may say to you, perhaps don't do this anymore, just get a job already, this music thing or this DJ thing is not going to work for you. But you have to allow yourself to get back up on that horse, because above and beyond starting a business, starting a song, or doing anything that you're passionate about, you are going to see a lot of obstacles. You are going to meet a lot of people that don't agree with you. You are going to experience a lot of negativity. So you have to allow yourself to rise above that and remember all the time why it is you started and why it is that you want to achieve that particular goal. And speaking of family leads to the fifth thing that I think cripples us sometimes. It's the views of people that have said to us. Perhaps you had a teacher in high school or primary that told you you'll never become anything. Perhaps it was your parent that didn't, give you that sense of confidence to say that you're too fat, you can't be a model, or whatever feedback people have given you in the past that cripples you sometimes, and you can't get yourself to do anything again. You can't get yourself to put yourself out there. You don't have the esteem and you don't have the confidence because you've internalized the words that other people have said to you about who you are. And I think the important thing is that you need to understand who you are above and beyond what people say to you, above and beyond what you can do, because if you attach so much of who you are and what you can do and what your worth is on the things around you or the things that people have said to you, you are going to struggle to see the value in who you are and your worth. And that's going to escalate into other things more than just starting a business or doing things about your dreams or pursuing your dreams. And it's going to escalate into your relationships. It's going to escalate into your career. It's going to escalate into your family. You're always going to be undermining yourself if you keep other people's views about yourself. Which leads to the last thing, which is the sixth thing. It's the role that you have. Sometimes we feel like the roles that we have are who we are. So I'm a clinical psychologist. It's part of who I am, but it's not entirely who I am. And therefore, when you start attaching your value in what you do and the role that you play, when you don't succeed as a clinical psychologist, or when you don't succeed as a dancer or as a choreographer or a musician, you don't know who you are, and that's a scary part. So you're scared to actually fail in being a clinical psychologist or on being a musician or being a business owner, because you don't know who you're going to be at the end of that experience or at the end of that journey. So like I said before, who we are is a parts of different things. You can be a mom, you can be a dad, you can be a teacher, you can be the role or your career that you have, but you can be part of a family, you can be part of a society, you can be part of a social, you can be part of your values, your principles. Who we are is made up of multiple parts, and if you allow the things that you do and the things that you're able to achieve define entirely who you are going to be scared of trying new things, because it's going to challenge the views that you think of yourself. Whether you thought of yourself as a patient person and now you're proving to yourself that you're actually not as patient anymore, whatever it is, if you attach so much into who you are and the value of you see in yourself as part of what you do, you are going to struggle again. Like I said, this is not an exhaustive list. It's just a list of things that I thought about when I was being asked the question. So let's engage and let's talk about, what do you think is stopping you from starting? What do you think are the things or the obstacles that are on your way from having to do the things that you're doing? You have to trust yourself. All of these things inhibit ourselves from trusting ourselves, from believing in ourselves, from believing that we can do the things that only perhaps the top 1% can do or the top 10% can do. You can do it. It's just that the only difference between those people and us is perhaps resources, but it also sometimes is just a matter of perseverance, determination, doing the risks that other people are not willing to do, going into places that other people are not wanting to do, having to go through all of that trouble and pain and challenges, and still being able to persevere and hold on to the dreams that you have. And that's the distinguishing factor. It's not race, it's not gender, it's not where you grew up, it's not class, it's not anything that you see on the outside. It's all the qualities and the characters that will make up a good leader, but also a person who's just able to persevere through very difficult things. So let's engage and let's talk about some of these things, because I think it's an important thing for us to enable each other to be better people so that we can build better societies. If we're not doing these things, other people are, and our communities will never be enriched. Our communities will never see the things that we look at on the other side and say, oh wow, that's so beautiful, how they're able to do that. But if you're not able to do and take the risks that other people are doing, you're always going to live a complacent life and still have the same things you've always had and nothing more. And you'll always live from paycheck to paycheck. You'll always live from salary to salary, or from whatever it is, allowance to allowance. You have to allow yourself to do more than what you think you can do, and even when you've done that, push yourself to do even more.